When two big cats meet, who is stronger and who is weaker, has always been talked about by people. If one day, tigers that should have lived in Asia, traveling thousands of miles to the territory of African lions, will they survive? Two researchers conducted such an experiment. The purpose of the experiment was to use captive tigers, regain wildness, can finally be released into nature. As we all know, the tiger's fate is so bad that it is on the verge of extinction in the wild. In order not to let this handsome and beautiful race disappear from the planet, researchers will work at a Canadian zoo. Captive-bred tigers brought to the African savanna. These two Bengal tigers, they are the original tiger siblings in Africa's Tiger Valley, Ron and Julie when they were 7 months old. Zoologist John and animal trainer David, he took them to Africa, this free and vast land. Hope they can adapt to life in the wild, and finally return to the mountains. Although this is a very controversial conservation project, fur and big cats, two people with more than 20 years of experience together, everyone feels that this matter cannot be delayed immediately. But the little tigers are still too young at this time, cannot be released into the wild immediately, to ensure their survival. The first steps taken by two animal experts, that is to carry out step-by-step outdoor training for them. John will return to training, set in Fida Wildlife Park in South Africa. There are many species of soil fertilizer here, and India, the home of Lake Bengal, have similar mountain and forest conditions, provides a good living environment for the tiger cubs. But there are dangers everywhere. Ron's first prey on Africa town, it's an antelope. The bell sheep and the tiger are equally fast. The moment I saw the antelope herd, Guan Xing made them rush out. Two tiger cubs are just babies put together, probably not as big as an adult antelope. Antelope sharp horns, it's likely to cause them big trouble. Then the little tigers looked at her and bit her again. African buffalo. You know, they only have 50 kilograms at this time. A large African buffalo weighs 700 kilograms. Now they have to get out of the circle a little bit. Assistant Enhi could only slink away with his tail between his legs for the time being, flee agreeably, during the competition between two human shit shovelers. But at this time they could not move these animals, associated with the food they depend on for survival, nor do they understand that the prey will not be captured without restraint. Like, they were lucky enough to encounter a dead zebra. This is enough to make any large carnivore living in Africa has a feast. Although Ron showed his hunting instinct after a meal, bit the zebra's neck and nostrils, much to John's relief, because this is a tiger. Then Ron. No one associates Hutaitong food with delicious food from heaven. In their eyes, they are not as good as the little pieces of meat in the hands of the shit shoveler. The two experts immediately understood. Can't hope to hunt pigs with two tiger cubs. In subsequent training, two little guys gradually showed his talents as a top hunting spring. They know how to approach their prey by bumping into them. This is like an inherited skill engraved in DNA. But he also retained his innocence and slow understanding. Sometimes I get stuck in a tree and can't get down. Everything is going in the right direction, just waiting for a few months to grow. They will definitely succeed in their special hunt. Enough prey for them to eat for a week. But there are unforeseen circumstances before the little tigers have fully grown up. The mountainous heavy rain wiped out this wild park. The floods spread and covered hundreds of miles of hazy. At no choice, they can only search again. Habitat adapted to tiger survival. And this place, it is a pasture 8 kilometers away from Fida. Animal populations are sparse here in the plains. And what's different from lions living in groups is that the poisonous tiger is Wang Chun in the mountains and forests, but it is difficult to hunt pigs in the plains. This is not the most ideal habitat, but due to time constraints and in order for the experiment to proceed smoothly, John can only stay here temporarily. Here they came up with a new trick to build confidence in the little tigers to hunt live prey. That means leaving the antelope at the back of the car, simulate living prey. Let the little tiger door hunt. This is simply a big cat teaser. The little tigers quickly took over, but they still don't understand. Antelope as prey, hunting is not a game, it's their means of survival. John tries again. This time, the little tigers finally understood. Special hunting is for food. This is quite a progress. But the side effects that followed appeared. Now the little tigers see the truck appear, will also regard it as prey. Then, John thought of several different ways to train the wild nature of tigers. Although the little tigers have not learned anything from this experience, but at least their thinking has been exercised. This day, David threw the body of his prey from the cliff into the river, because picking up food and corroding it is also a compulsory course for carnivores. When Thread and Boost arrive at the bottom of the mountain, although being a feline, Tigers are not afraid of water at all. This already has great advantages. As for Ron, he has perfected the skill of diving. He quickly fished out the body and ate it. Sometime afterwards, training proceeds step by step. Compared with those who just came to this grassland, they are slow to understand. Two little tigers have made rapid progress. The wild nature is unleashed and becomes increasingly dangerous, but their progress is not enough to support their freedom. Return to the jungle. In order to maintain the authority of the shit shovel officer, David can only perform the act of snatching food from the tiger's mouth again and again. Make them hand over the stolen food. Eat only the food David prepared for them. Know that this is a bold and dangerous act, because wild animals can never be completely conquered. Any big cat, from cute to scary, maybe all it takes is a moment of blinding eyes. Training continues into the 6th month. Ron and Julie finally complete their first solo hunt. It's just that the target of the hunt is a bit embarrassing. It's a porcupine. To prevent tigers from getting infected from porcupine quills, David could only seize food from the tiger's mouth again, pull out the thorns from Ron's body. If it weren't for the relationship between David and Xiaohu, established a deep enough trust, this is undoubtedly suicide. So far, bad choice when hunting. Caused them a lot of trouble. So John planned the next training session. The key is to teach them how. Choose the right prey. And the tiger is in this plane. Biggest enemy. It's not like other large carnivores like lions, but the most common venomous cobra in the plains. If you take one bite, you will die within an hour. His instinct told him to avoid the cobra. But Ron is not that smart. How dare you go up and pick a fight? Fortunately, thick glass protects them. As the little tiger grows, the relationship between humans and tigers has become deeper and deeper. The separable electrons are getting closer and closer. As a parent, sooner or later you have to learn to let go. John and David wanted to go out on their own. But Ron is indeed a running little tiger. After eating the porcupine's fault and taking on the poisonous snake, he also fell in love with one without fear. 2,800 kilograms house cattle. This is a crazy temptation on the verge of death. If the cow in the house is angry, no matter if you are the king of beasts or not, Ron will be trampled directly into a pulp. Fortunately, this house cow is not interested in fighting. Ron was able to save his life, so choosing prey is also a skill. Simba's best friend in The Lion King, Yu Zupengpeng, is a good choice. After living for a while, John felt that this grassland was too poor. So not far from the other side of the river, bought a pasture covering an area of 30,000 square meters, as the final destination for their humans and tigers. The ranch was named Tiger's Moon. John is looking forward to being in this field of hope. Tigers can unleash their wild nature and return to freedom. In order to rebuild this ecosystem, John destroyed protected areas, sneak into more than 100 animals to maintain ecological balance. And as I gradually settle into my new home, the tiger cubs return to training and the female curtain begins. What they are facing is bigger and stronger prey. Lang Yang's open space. Give the tigers enough room to display. But it also brought them a lot of trouble. In the jungle, tigers can rely on the concealment of mountains and forests, approaching prey and naming it. But this is difficult to achieve on the open plains. In addition, the little tigers don't have much patience to lurk, so the first attempt ended in failure. In order to help them grow faster, David decided not to feed them. After 2 days of starvation, Ron and Julie figured out, if you want to fill your stomach, you have to rely on yourself. And what David was going to give them, it's the choice of the moment of stress. He can only use human control. Leave it to the little tigers, how to be patient. The bushes hide themselves close to their prey, although very dangerous. But if there is no tigress, there is always a warrior to do it. Fortunately, little tiger gate now, I have learned most of the hunting skills. It's time for them to try to get away from humans. Contacted John. Put up a fence to protect from the wind. Slowly separate humans and tigers. During this period, the little tigers improved their hunting skills, making rapid progress. Although one mountain cannot tolerate 2 tigers, tigers are very territorial animals. Ron and Julie. After all, they are brothers and sisters who grew up together, so John still photographed the rare 2 tigers. Image of hunting together. With the rapid growth of the little tigers, the moment of separation seems just a few feet away. John and David cherish the remaining happy time very much, and the deep feelings established between them. From time to time, John takes the tiger cubs to the river to play in the water, enjoy this beautiful and peaceful sunshine. However, the good times did not last long. Damn Ron. Eyes shining brightly hit the next door neighbor's cattle. John almost resigned to his fate. I felt like I was going to face an innocent cow that lost its life, and angry neighbors. Then, Wen is really handsome for only 3 seconds. Then John felt that the time was ripe. This brother and sister are more than up to the real challenge. What they face next? He's a wildebeest with sharp horns. Survive in this dangerous grassland. The wildebeests are obviously not soft persimmons. The lions next door have encountered many obstacles here. Brother and sister face powerful enemy, relying on excellent disguise and unparalleled explosive power, win successfully. This marks they have entered the ranks of the top hunters. John and David. I think they have the qualifications to survive in the wild, but before letting them into the wild park, still have to hold the last graduation ceremony. This is a killing spree for antelope herds. When cats go berserk, not just hunting for food, but simply enjoy happiness. Excited Julie and Ron awakened to the hunting time, killed 7 prey, hand-trained little guys. All doubts have been broken. Successfully became a wild killer, in order to continue to observe, without disturbing their wildlife. John, wear collars with satellite positioning capabilities on them. After 4 months of close observation, they can take the collar off, completely free to live in the wild. It's time to say goodbye. 2 tigers were released into the plains, watching the tigers go away freely. For David and John, this is a sweet and bitter farewell ceremony. For Ron and Julie, unknown challenges will continue. And a few months later, because there's no way to track Ron's necklace, John and David quietly came to their habitat. Fortunately, nothing is different. The documentary Walking with Tigers ends here. This seems to be a good call for us to cherish wild animals. Documentaries about protecting the natural environment, but it is still subject to huge controversy, because the next sequel story in Lahu Valley, not as beautiful as we imagined. After returning to the jungle, Ron and Julie are inbreeding, gave birth to 2 brothers, Tiger Boy and Shy Boy, to prevent them from mating again in the reserve. For this purpose, a new pair of Huke sisters were introduced. Sister Phantom and brother fled west. They had separate babies with Ron and Julie. This protected area is only 800,000 square meters. There are more than 20 tigers. Density is more than 10 times that of the wild state. Not enough to support all tigers to have their own territory. Then, Ron was born in 2011 at the age of 11. Maybe it's because of the competition for turf by his own son. Tiger Boy and Shy Boy team up to kill. The house was also occupied by a passing rival. As for Julie, also because of saving you, he was killed by his sister-in-law Phantom 3 years later. As of 2020, the only remaining first-generation tiger in Lahu Valley, it's the Phantom, a 15-year-old tigress. And most of the descendants in Lahu Valley, all are expected to have a good death. Their infighting is pretty mundane. According to incomplete statistics, so far there are 11 adult tigers died in internal fighting. This is also the reason why many people reviled John Wadi. They thought John was essentially a businessman. He runs Tiger Bones as a tourist attraction. To a large extent, it is also to seek peace. Retro items, more like setting up a safari park in South Africa, doesn't make much sense for protecting tiger populations. He is more just for tigers' head teacher and the Department of Business Value.